Greg LeBlanc. I'm here at the Haas School with Laurent El Ghaoui, who not only is a professor of engineering here at UC Berkeley and also an instructor at the Haas School in our financial engineering program, but is also a founder of a new analytics company called SumUp Analytics. Welcome, Laurent.
Thank you, Greg, for the opportunity.
So, Laurent, you're someone who is an engineer, but you've worked in finance, you've worked for hedge funds, you've done a lot of consulting in the area. People have talked a lot about how data science is going to transform the world of finance, and we all talk about fintech and its applications in the consumer space, and investment banking and investing. Can you talk a little bit about where you see data science as having the biggest impact on the financial industry?
So indeed, we could trace the influence of data science in fintech or in the financial industry. It goes back to the 50s. They've always looked at the numbers. But what happened is that at some point there was a fork that you had a special type of person called a quant, and maybe a special type of shop, could be a hedge fund doing quant things. And the whole idea was to make the whole pipeline fully automatized. It didn't mean that in practice it was fully automatized, but that was a vision. And it led to high frequency finance and all sorts of things. But I think that sort of sidetracked the issue. The real issue is, how do you make a human use a machine to make a decision, and not how do you let the machine decide for you? That is really a pipe dream, I think. And so while I don't deny that there are some automated trading algorithms that do work, what the practitioners tell me is that they do work for a while, and then you have to fix them, and you have to renew the model, or you have to do something else, maybe fire the portfolio manager. And so I think the big challenge for a part of fintech would be, how do you make the big data and all the data science palatable, interpretable, maybe actionable even. But it's different from saying, I'm going to have a black box. I don't understand what the black box is. I just look at the results. So I think it's a very exciting opportunity, but also a challenge.
Well, certainly in the world of the financial advisors, there's been a huge discussion around the threat provided by the robo-investors. And it seems like the financial advisors will always have a job because they're needed as the human face that can hold the hand and provide all the psychological support to the typical investor.
Right.
But at the institutional level, how do you see that interface playing out between the human and the algorithms?
And let me ask you a question. Institutional, you mean at a bank or something like that?
For the institutional investors, for the
Right.
traders, I think you had talked a little bit about how value-based investors and hedge funds, they still spend a lot of time talking to people, spend a lot of time doing interviews, spending a lot of time reading articles and so forth. To what extent will we see a lot of that activity become automated?
Yes, so I think where the machine can do is really reduce the numbers to the essential ones, reduce the number of articles you should read to a few. And I think that's where the challenge is for the next few years, is not, again, to provide just a number and maybe a decision, as in automated quant trading, but now it's to summarize, to make palatable, to track also, to alert, maybe translate news and provide you with a summary. So, even if you look at important things like where the price of oil is going, or at least where is volatility going, things are very unclear. There are still surprises that very big CEOs of big companies, I didn't know that the shale oil price will fall that much. I didn't know that the price of oil will. So, in other words, I think the role of big data there is to take this onslaught of very diverse set of data sets and make it simple for better decision making. I think that's going to be the new mode in fintech. Not talking about the fintech part that's facing the customer. Here I'm not commenting about the B2B aspect.
Now, in the 70s and the 80s, we saw the quants in finance emerge from kind of the bowels of the building into the executive suite and saw their salaries rise and their importance rise. And our financial engineering program here at Haas sort of reflects that. But we've noticed that people from outside the financial sector have been coming to recruit our financial engineers. Do you think that we will be seeing the same thing happen with quants in every other industry and every other functional area? And do you see a convergence in skill sets around the things that people need to have when they go into finance and the things that they'll need to have to go into marketing and operations and management?
That's a very astute observation. I concur fully that there will be a common language, a common basis. Not to say that companies doing big data are going to be touching on all these different verticals. I really strongly believe that companies doing big data need to adapt to the core expertise of the vertical they're exploring. And it's a complicated task. But I think that in terms of skill sets and in the role of universities, for example, that's a big challenge because we need to scale up all these things, and maybe just one department doing it is not enough. I don't know the answer, but I know it's a big, big issue and challenge.
Laurent, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. Thank you.